Right here at the top of the hour, as we continue to follow up on the officer-involved shooting in Mid Hill, we do know that 2 officers involved in that shooting are now recovering at home, but a suspect is now dead after what should have been a routine child custody exchange. Mecklenburg County Sheriff Garry McFadden joining us this morning live in the Impact Studio. Appreciate your time. Thanks for making this stop your first one of your day. Busy day.
Good morning. Thank you.
Sheriff, so what was your reaction when you heard about this incident, and what does this tell us about the dangers of these custody battles?
Well, these are the dangers that officers face each and every day. Custody battles has a lot of emotion, and oftentimes we are not there. It's just parents meeting in the parking lot, or parents meeting at a grocery store or a secluded area like parks. And so on this incident, we don't have all the details, or I don't have all the details, but custody battles are always volatile because it's a lot of emotion involved. You're meeting parents and they're exchanging the kids, and they may bring their significant other or other person that are in their lives that cause it to be more volatile than previous. And so we all know in law enforcement these kinds of incidents happen often. Maybe not to the death or the violence, but it always happened with controversial issues between the parents.
I mean, the county does have at least one solution. They have the supervised visitation and safe exchange since 2014. Do you know if people are using this, and what can be another solution for safe exchanges?
Some people are using it, but we asking them to do it even more. When I was with CMPD, we actually had the exchange in the parking lot between the building and the parking deck. And so people feel safe. The person who's handing off the child feels safe. But oftentimes, the other person wants to meet someplace else where they can have this conversation, they can have this argument and really bring them to an isolated area to say and do whatever they want to do. So we're asking people to think about where you're meeting this other person.
Yeah, I mean, so we do know Jamel Hamlin, the second, was killed in the incident right now. Do you have any information on any priors about this man?
No, I don't. I don't at this time.
All right. So, all right, moving on then. I want to shift to another tragedy occurring that same day of the Mid Hill officer-involved shooting. Your office announcing the death of Jason Hicks, a 42-year-old man who was in custody at the detention center. Can you walk us through what happened on that morning, the day after Christmas?
Well, we can't give you the details of the actual incident, but Mr. Hicks was discovered having complication, and our medical staff responded and saw that he was in a crisis, and then they transported him to the medical facility where he passed. But what we tell people, we want the audience to understand, these deaths does not happen at the hands of my deputies or my officers. People come to our facility in poor health, having conditions that are unknown to them before they arrive, or they come with a condition. We have expecting mothers, females, to come to our facility, begin to have a crisis of birth. We transport them to the hospital, the baby is born, and then they come back to the facility. And you have to understand that we are not a medical facility, we are a detention center. So most of these people come in with long-term diseases, long-term crisis, with medical equipment attached to them, and we still have to take care of them.
We know that the SBI is investigating as standard procedure. What specifically do they look at? I know your office is cooperating with them as well.
What they do is look at actually the scene where the person died, or the scene previous where he died, which is the detention center. So they start an investigation just as a death investigation to make sure that everything was followed. They interview our deputies, they interview the staff who was around, the medical staff, and then they look into the actual person's life, what he was arrested for, charges, and all of that, just as you would do if a person dies somewhere else. So they're just doing the protocol of the investigation.
And I mean, this happening, of course, during the holidays even makes that more heartbreaking, and notifying the families in the case. And this also brings up a bigger picture, Sheriff, about evictions of residents during the holidays. Talk to me a little bit about what your office is seeing.
Well, the holiday season is always filled with emotion, a lot of joy, but then also a lot of pain. And so during our holiday season, a lot of people are evicted from their home. I believe that the Monday after Christmas, we evicted over 198 people from their homes. This past Monday, we had another large eviction where it was 180 plus people. So my deputies are going to these homes and evicting people out of their homes during the holiday season. That is a lot of emotion for my deputies, mentally and physically, but it's also a lot of emotion for the residents who are now homeless and on the streets or living in their vehicles or just living under a bridge or just living with loved ones. So it brings a lot of stress and strain to the person being evicted, but also mental strain on my deputies.
And why are they being evicted?
Well, they can't pay their rent. Failure of their jobs, they just can't make the rent, as they say. And because of that, the landlords file these papers, go to court, go through the necessary steps with the clerk of court, and then the clerk of court issues the writ, and then we have to evict them.
And so I know you've seen even larger numbers of these types of evictions. And we know on the other side of the court system, or say the landlord, they go through, they jump through hoops trying to get, the proper process going on proper evictions. What is it, that can bridge the gap into helping folks out?
Well, I think it's funding, and then we all talk about affordable housing. People run their candidacy on affordable housing, and we need to find some type of mechanism to allow people to work and provide for their families. And what that is, I can't tell you. But I can tell you that if we do not find a solution, we're going to continue to see people being evicted. And how does that fall into the crime industry? When we say industry, we're just talking about crime. Everybody's talking about crime and why is crime up? Well, when you have 187 people evicted from their home, somebody is going to do whatever it takes to support their family and maybe turn to the life of crime, supporting their family, feeding their family, and clothing their family. And they're desperate. And so we talk about evictions as a small entity, but it is a large entity because evictions cause homelessness and also could potentially boost the crime.
So obviously systemic, and one of those issues that is indicative of what's happening on a bigger scale.
Absolutely.
The broader context here then is, what do you do from a law enforcement side? And you said that your officers and deputies are kind of burnt out during this time. What do you do from what you can from your position?
Well, we tell them to actually, I talked to my officers yesterday, make sure that you take care of your mental state and your physical state. Take a break, take vacation, take sick leave, take some time off, just to get yourself together. And don't try to work as much off duty as you possibly can. Just the holiday season, trying to make money, but make sure that you take care of yourself mentally and physically so you can come back to work in a great mental and physical state.
How short-staffed are you? Are you looking to hire in 26?
We're always looking to hire. We're always wanting to hire. So we're not as short as people believe that we are. But here's what happens. When the population inside a detention center goes up, as it has in the last couple of months, then we require more staffing. We're always going to need more staffing to adequately support the people who are incarcerated. So when we're talking about, we're 200 short, no, we're less than 100 people short. And so we are doing well, but also we need to do better to give our staff a break, lunch break, meal breaks, and just their breaks, and give them time where if they have to leave for a couple of days, we do have enough staff to support that. So we're always looking to hire. So anybody wants to be hired, you can look on our website, and we'll be glad to look at your application.
Okay, very good. Can we talk about the detention center? Just circle back a little bit more. It's obviously face scrutiny, like in many big cities. The detention centers face scrutinies with growing cities and growing crime. What reforms or changes have been implemented to improve the situation there as far as detention center goes?
Well, let me say this. A lot of people bring the the idea or opinions of the detention center. Most people have not even come to our detention center to see how we operate. We are what they call a triple crown, and I'm always going to say that. We are a triple crown, and we have more accreditations than any other sheriff's office in North Carolina and South Carolina. And so we are nationally recognized for our detention center. When we say triple crown, there are approximately 3,089 sheriff's offices in America, but only 52 have the triple crown, and we are one of these facilities that have the triple crown. When we talk about accreditation, we are a fully accredited detention center. So when we're talking about issues inside the detention center, they're no different than whatever is going on across America. We just sensationalize it and highlight it because of the detention center in Mecklenburg County. But we are operating well, we're operating efficiently, and we do have problems just like anybody else. When we're talking about the detention center, are we speaking about suicides? We have suicides attempt every single week, but they are interrupted by my staff. So we're operating well, but what happens is we take the old news and completely bring it forward and continuously to say that we are operating a bad detention center or an inefficient detention center. That is not the case. We are operating well. Do we have crisis? Yes. We are taking in people who are in crisis on the street. Again, homelessness, drug addiction, substance abuse. All of these people are housed inside a detention center. We do have issues with attempted suicides. We do have issues of addiction. All of those come with who we are housing inside our detention center. But we are a well-established, well-ran detention center, and I invite anyone to come down and see it.
All right. Appreciate then you setting the record straight that the detention center is running efficiently there. As we move into the new year, do you have a message for families, viewers watching this morning, Sheriff?
Take time with your family. Take time with yourself. Take time of your mental health. Mental health is the biggest issue that we are facing now. With what we see on TV, what we see in social media, we bring a crisis in our life each and every day. I just want to take time to think about yourself, your mental and physical abilities, capabilities, but make sure that you take care of your mental health. That is the main focus I want people to look at in the coming year. Social media can drive you one way or another. People look at social media and believe anything that they see on social media, and it generates negativity in their lives. Step back for a while, take a break, and let's have a great new year.
All right, let's do it. Sheriff Garry McFadden coming in from Mecklenburg County Sheriff's Office. We appreciate your time, and hopefully you have a good new year as well. And
I certainly will.
Take a little mental break as well.
Thank you.
All right. We're going to be right back and regroup here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Check your weather when we get back.